What's poppin' mangoes? It's your boy Black Ginger back with another travel story, and today's episode is bringing us to Egypt. So here's the car facts. Egypt is a country that connects Africa to the Middle East. Egypt is also home to one of the earliest known civilizations, dating back to around 3100 BC, built around the world's longest river, the Nile. Much of our modern technology originated from Egyptian ideas, and the Egyptians also mastered the art of preserving dead bodies, also known as mummification, which is evident in the remains of pharaohs found in pyramids around the Egyptian deserts. Now, let's get to the story.
Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Get fired up.
I remember planning this trip, and the one place that me and my friend were kind of skeptical about going to was Egypt for various reasons. And the fact that there was literally just a terrorist attack there just a few days ago in Cairo, that didn't make me feel comfortable. So I had a feeling my friend was going to be just as uncomfortable. So I reached out to him. I apologized for our fight in Italy. I tried to make amends, and I invited him to stay in my room with me in Egypt. And I figured it'd be cheaper than his hotel. It'd be closer to the pyramids. I figured we'd both be more comfortable with a familiar face. And he agreed, so we hung out in Egypt. But since the end of the stories, me and him haven't really been friends. So for his privacy reasons, I'm going to censor his face and change his name. So for now on, we're just going to call him Franklin. So before I left Greece, my Airbnb host asked me to bring a couple things back for him from a Greek pharmacy, and that's what I gave him when I first got to the Airbnb. And it sounds kind of like I was drug smuggling, but I'm pretty sure everything was legal. So we're just gonna run with the statement that I didn't deliver any illegal narcotics over international borders. So our host gave us a few minutes to settle into our rooms before he eventually helped us book various excursions around Egypt. We took a tour of the Saqqara Step Pyramid, which was honestly very underwhelming compared to the tour of the Great Pyramids. Then we took a camel ride through the desert before we were taken to an art shop where everything was painted on traditional papyrus. And I walked out of there spending about $65 on art, which is probably about $60 more than I've ever spent on art in my entire life. So I wasn't really feeling good. My budget every day was supposed to be $30, and that was supposed to cover food, transportation, and excursions for the day. And I had just spent $100 today already, and I had already booked a couple of excursions that were going to go on until tomorrow. That was going to cost me another $100, and that was like $200, and that was like a week's budget. I just spent that in one day, and I was really not feeling right at this point. I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little scammed because my Airbnb host, he threw all these excursions at us like rapid fire, like boom, 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 and he was making us decide. He only gave us like a couple minutes before he rushed us out the door, and he was giving it to us all in like Egyptian pounds instead of translating them into American dollars. And in my math, in my head, I didn't have enough time to do it, and I was really overwhelmed. And you just gotta take a deep breath. And it was at this point when I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna survive overseas unless I have an offline currency converter. So if you're going to travel, please download one. So boom, me and Franklin had just spent like a week's worth of our budget in one day, and we had no idea how we were going to survive tomorrow, let alone like the next week without any extra money. And we decided that the only thing we had to do was to go talk to Mohammed. So I talked to him, and I'm like, hey, is there any way we can get the money back for everything we're going to do tomorrow? And he tried to say that if we canceled the trips tomorrow, it'd make him look bad as like a tour guide because it's his city, and he didn't want to do that. So I was like, okay, so how about we keep the things booked? You can keep paying the people whatever you got to pay them, but how about you give us the money back on transportation and security services so we can get a little bit of money back? I told him that we were in dire need. We had no money. We had no money. That's the facts. We were backpackers, $30 a day, traveling, and relatively speaking, that's not going to help you much overseas. So Muhammad said, okay, just give me a few minutes to think about this, and I'll come back to you guys.
1 hour later.
So about an hour later, Mohammed's security guard brings us out of our room and puts us in the living room. We're sitting on this one couch now, and Mohammed's on the other couch across from us, just sitting there mad stern like this. He's like, just maybe tapping his foot a little bit. We got two security guards over here. We got one over there. I felt a little intimidated. I'm not going to lie to you. But before like anything was said, Mohammed pulled out these 2 stacks of cash. He hands it to us. It was the entire refund for everything we had booked tomorrow, and he told us, like, he was like, hey, I don't want to ruin your trip. He's like, I understand money can be tough, and he's like, I'd love for you to have a good time in Egypt, and I don't want to be the reason that you have a bad time. So we gave us our money back, and honestly, I really respect him for that. And that was honestly such a huge load off my back. I was so stressed. But our first night in Egypt was not over yet because we still had a dinner cruise on the Nile River. And that meant we had some singing, we had some belly dancers, we had some Sufi dancers, and we had some delicious food. And what more can you ask for that? But we were also cruising down the Nile River, so that was pretty much an experience in and of itself. After the cruise, our escort took us on this night walk through one of these old towns through Cairo. I'm not really sure what the name was, but it was really cool because we got to walk past all these shops, and there was people making hookahs, and they were mixing shisha, and we saw shops for furniture being made, and dolls, and clothes being made, and it was honestly just such a really interesting look into like Cairo life outside of the tourist attractions. And the night was actually like it was a really cool walk. We got to see a lot of stuff, but then we walked into this like gang fight. That's what the escort told us. He said that there was like a gang fight, and there was people just in the streets, and they were like throwing glass bottles at each other like in the streets, and there's people in buildings throwing glass bottles down, like throwing them all over the place. All I saw was glass bottles being thrown, and then there's traffic trying to drive through, but then there's a gang fight happening, so people are backing up, but it's a one-lane street, so we got cars backing up, we got old women trying to get out of there, my escort's trying to get the old women out the way so they don't get run over by the cars. It was pretty eventful. I really wish I'd gotten some more footage, but I was mostly worried about staying alive at this point because it was really hectic and I did not want to get lost right now. So that's all I got to tell you. Me and Franklin got home pretty late from our first night in Cairo. So we had no plans to spend a dime today until Muhammad finally called us out of our rooms around 10:30, and he brought us this like delicious complimentary breakfast that he said his wife cooked for us, and it was amazing. And the view, you can't beat that, honestly. I don't think I've ever had a breakfast this great. So I had to tell you. And the day wasn't even over because after breakfast, Muhammad also booked us another escort to bring us around Giza, and he paid for the transportation. He paid for some fruit smoothies, and he paid for some street nuts, and from a nut vendor. Nut vendor was like a cart, and they got scoops of nuts, and it was like, I'm gonna move past that one. But the transportation, let me tell you, we traveled today using Cairo's cheapest form of public transportation, a random system of hitchhiking Volkswagen vans that was honestly one of the sketchiest rides of my entire life. I felt like I was on a roller coaster the whole time. They go like 60 on the highway, driving like bumper to bumper. They got like 10 people. At one point we had 10 people crammed into a 6-person van, and we're driving down the highway, and I guess there was so much weight in this old van that the freaking car stalls in the middle of the highway and the engine turns off. So we're rolling, and the freaking driver, he restarts the engine while we're rolling. Honestly, I didn't know until today that was even the thing that cars were able to do. I didn't know you could I just didn't know that was possible. I was scared for my life, but we were just cruising after that. We kept it cruising after that. And that wasn't even the worst part because at one point, we weren't driving too fast at this point, but at one point, there's a guy crossing the street and we go boom, and the guy falls. We hit the guy and the guy falls back, and he's just sitting there like he's looking at us like this. He's like on the ground, and the driver's like, and there was kind of like an awkward stare off for like a couple seconds before the guy finally got up, and then he just walked away. It was, I guess it was casual. It was a casual thing. It was, if I can give you a tip, please spend the extra money on a cab or a public car. Do not take the Volkswagen Express. It is not worth your life. We didn't really do much else today besides stay hydrated. That's all I got to say. We checked out of an Airbnb this afternoon, and Muhammad offered us a free car service back to the airport. Not the Volkswagen Express this time. It was a legitimate car, so I felt a lot safer today. And me and Franklin boarded our flight to Thailand around 2:30. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. If you could have any superpower, what would you want? For me, it would be teleportation because I think it would be fire to be able to go anywhere in the world at the snap of your fingers. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Comments help boost the algorithm. Every button you press boosts the algorithm. So I appreciate all the likes, all the comments, everything you guys do for me. It's all appreciated. And until next time, live forward, learn backwards. Peace.